Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as things are picking up, right? Things are picking up. I was just reading an article here dealing with, this is on Zero Hedge, dealing with the whole civil unrest going on in LA. And now, as it says in the headline here, Mexican Senate president revives territorial claims amid Los Angeles civil unrest. So it says here, on Monday, Mexican Senate President Gerardo Fernandez Noroña publicly displayed an 1830 map of Mexico during a press conference, emphasizing that Mexico once held sovereignty over California, Texas, and much of the modern-day U.S. Southwest. It says here, Noroña's gesture could be viewed as a nationalist provocation, subtly reinforcing irredentist intentions at a time when foreign nationals and dark money-funded Marxist-aligned NGOs are sparking civil unrest in Los Angeles. Widespread looting, arson, and violent clashes with both local and federal law enforcement. Now, I believe they issued a curfew for some region in downtown Los Angeles, saying that there would be arrests, right, for people who break it. There's also been footage of, the military vehicles pretty much on the street. Now, as we've mentioned before, they've done, these different drills, exercises of having troops on the street, helicopters, and all of those things. But it's also a means to desensitize the mind, right? As you have mobilizing all these military troops over there, even if things were to calm down and they were to say, all right, we're taking them back, it is like a step that has been taken so far forward that now it's part of the path. Right now, it's a thing where it's like Trump won't hesitate to deploy the military if he has to. He already did in Los Angeles, right? So it's about taking those far-reaching, sometimes unprecedented steps to now establish a new foothold right in the path, and then just keeping on pushing from there. Okay. Now, as all this is happening, right, there's also, I saw a post, I forget the exact details of it, but I think it was somebody from, I don't recall if it was Al-Qaeda or some group, right, that was calling for, let me see if I can maybe find a headline on it, but they were basically calling for T attacks in America, pretty much saying that their supporters should take out Trump, and there it is. It's Al-Qaeda leader Saad bin Atef has called on able-bodied Muslims in the United States to carry out T attacks and assassinate President Trump and members of his cabinet. Right, and that was a post on X, right, by breaking or actually no, Current Report. Okay, so it's interesting, that, assuming this is true, that amidst all of this, you have that going on, right? So there's a lot of things going on, not to forget about the AI, situation, the AI development that's happening. And when we say it's moving fast, it's not an understatement. Okay, it's not a an exaggeration. It's they're moving very quickly. Okay, everywhere you turn. I was just watching a video on these things called Project Aria by Meta, which are basically glasses, but they're for research purposes, as they're saying. And in the video, they are telling you blatantly that the direction and the goal that they're pushing towards, the benchmark, is a system that is they're literally openly telling you that the point of these glasses is to watch everything you do and stream it in real time to the AI, that it can learn from it. So now you have a robot, and they keep saying it. You have first humans, built machines, told machines what to do, But now it's going to be a different way where now machines can do, they can look, they can make decisions, and then they can take their own actions based on what they're seeing. First off, what that's the path that every almost every post-apocalyptic movie where machines take over goes down. Right? And what they're emphasizing is um it's going to think better than you, it's going to move better than you. So it's not just coming to assist you in just daily tasks, but it's to the point where it will be thinking for you. That's literally what they're saying, that it will be thinking for you. Okay, and that's how you get to a society where, I mean, people barely use their brains now, but you have that. On top of that, you also have people pushing for AI to replace teachers. Right? They're saying like no more need for actual human teachers if AI can do it better. Now, I was watching the interview of it, and obviously teachers were pushing back, and people were like, "Oh no, it's. I mean, it is. It does have a lot of information, and it may be able to deliver it or word it a certain kind of way and give you personalized feedback, but it can't replace human teachers." Now, the thing about it is not like I always like to focus on not the exact event or point of discussion now, but the actual pattern. Okay. And the pattern here is that years ago, nobody would have even had, like, it wouldn't have mattered enough to even have an interview about whether AI can and or should replace teachers, right? It wouldn't, like, people wouldn't have been coming on here talking about, yeah, I use AI in generating content for students and so on and so forth. That wasn't commonly talked about like that, but now it is, right? So just like a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have even it wouldn't have even been a question that you would be thinking about whether AI will replace teachers, but now it's something you're discussing on the news. So in a couple of months to a couple of years, now you're saying no, it's not possible. It does have its benefits and its merits, but it's not possible because it doesn't really, give that care and that human side that teachers do. Well, are you going to be saying the same thing in a few months to a year? Because you're not discussing the same things you're discussing now. Back, like, what you were discussing years ago is not what you're discussing now about AI. So what you're discussing now is likely not going to be what you're discussing in the very near future about AI, and that's the pattern right there. The pattern isn't whether they can replace teachers now. The problem is eventually, as they're continuing to rapidly, and I mean very rapidly, advance, will they be able to? Yes. That's what people really need to think about. Okay, forget your forecast now. Things always change. So, with all that going on, I say this, man, that look around you and look around very good, right? Your regular iPhone, right? Your flip phones, your old computers, your cars that you drive today, the Ubers you get in that you see an actual person in there. Look at all that and really let it sink into your mind that in your lifetime, right, you will very well see a time where all of these things become like archaic and very quickly. And soon you're gonna wake up and in your mind you're gonna be asking yourself, what kind of world am I living in right now? And just as you ask yourself that, there's gonna be an AI assistant that responds, the year is 2026. And you are currently living in, I don't know, San Antonio in the United States. Would you like me to answer any other questions for you? You know? And then you might be, oh shit, yeah, I forgot that. And then maybe a couple years from there, you wake up and you might just think it in your mind, damn, what does the world become? And then you go hear another voice, but this time in your head. So the point I'm making here is that, you know, we're living in the last remnants of normalcy, if that. Because prior to the CV, we wouldn't have called this normal, right? But now we're seeing such a drastic change ahead of us that this position that the world is in that is abnormal is the best normal it'll be compared to what's about to happen. Okay, just watch. You know why? Because even if you don't want to accept it, even if you don't want to integrate or you don't want to go along with it, the things that they have accustomed you to use, your phones, your computers, the jobs that you work at, the transportation you take, the grocery stores where you go to, or the laundromats, the apartment buildings, all these things that you use and rely on will upgrade. And in turn, it will force a decision upon you to either accept an upgrade or find something else to do with your life. All right. So from surveillance to physical robots in the homes, which that's what they're working on and pushing, to matter of fact, forget going to grocery shop. It's almost like being a prisoner, but it looks to you like you're just having a convenient life. But no, you're a prisoner. Your car is self-driving, so it goes to the store. It goes to the store and there's a robot over there doing the shopping and then bringing it into your car, packing it into the back of your car. Then your self-driving car drives back to your house and you don't even go outside. Your home robot agent goes out to the car, picks up those groceries and brings it inside and then unloads it and then packs it into the fridge and then asks you, would you like a meal? So what are you really going to be doing? You don't work. You and me having a UBI. So what's going to be your use? But people are not thinking about that right now, right? Because for some people, in their minds, they think, no, 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 there's no way. Well, like I said, you're seeing the last few minutes of normalcy in the world today, and just watch how quickly technology changes. You know, for those that haven't really heard much about AI and stuff, you will you will see very quickly. So I also just wanted to going back to the article. There was a part in here, a couple of posts, right, that people were posting on X. Um, right. So it says here in quotes. This is by Noronha. We will build the wall and pay for it, but we'll do it according to the 1830 map of Mexico. Mexicans were settled in these territories before the U.S. The Mexicans living there are in what has always been their homeland, Noronha emphasized. U.S. conservative legal scholar Randy Barnett wrote on X, so I guess it's an invasion then. And these are enemy aliens. Attention, SCOTUS. Now, what's interesting about this is they have that, like, pay attention to how they try to normalize certain words and terms because they have documentation on what what freedoms and powers and acts they can take when something is deemed an invasion. They literally, in going into Project Megiddo, right, Rex 84, and all of that, it goes into an invasion from Central America, one that is deemed as such, where they need to take measures to where they can put people in these camps, right, that they've built all around the states, and so on and so forth, right? Go and read about that. Somebody else posted here, Arthur Morgan. The U.S. legally acquired those territories through the 1848 Treaty of Guadalupe, Hidalgo, after Mexico lost the war it started. The land was purchased, not stolen, and Mexico agreed to the terms. Let's see what somebody else said here. Yeah, so you pretty much just have people taking to social media, um, addressing their concerns and frustrations. But we'll watch and see how this thing plays out. But there's definitely a lot of moving pieces here to pay attention to. And it's moving very, very quickly. All right. I think there was a precept that I had in mind I wanted to get real quick. Yeah, there he is. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And the point here is that things may seem quiet, they may seem dull, they may seem like normal, everything is just and literally in a matter of hours, right? There's a saying, a lot can happen in a day. One day can change the world more drastically than 3 years just by what happens in that time, right? And so all it takes, like sometimes it's something so quick that may seem small at first and it can spiral so fast. right? That hasn't even been 2 weeks since these quote unquote protests started, and look at where it's already gotten. So when the scriptures say when it comes, it will not tarry. When it starts, when the Lord says, okay, now is the time to go ahead, you may not recognize it right away, but what you will notice is it's just going to keep escalating more and more and more, and it's going to be moving quick. So as the Lord said, we have to watch as well as pray. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.